Right now on the National Weather Desk, saying goodbye to 2022 with more rains and heavy snow in the west, even as some communities are still cleaning up from this week's atmospheric river.
All alone and the water's coming up, what do you do?
While in Buffalo, many people are still trying to dig out of their homes.
I'm 67 years old. I need help. I need help.
What you should do if you find yourself stuck in your car in nasty weather.
I have blankets, water, food, chains, a snow shovel.
The gift shop that turned into an ice house, literally.
It's about a foot thick
It
on the side of that house.
And a look back at the top space stories of 2022.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. The weather this New Year's weekend is a tale of two coasts. In the east, folks will ring in 2023 with unseasonably warm temperatures, but it's a different story out west, where the so-called atmospheric river is leading to multiple watches and warnings. Let's start in Northern California, where a flood watch is posted through tomorrow night. Up to 3 inches of rain will fall there, even more in the valleys. Even Southern California could get an inch or two of rain. Then there is the snow. Up to 2 or even 3 feet could fall in the Sierra Nevada mountains. Snow will also fall across the Rockies in Utah and Colorado. Skiers should have some good powder days. The snow actually started falling yesterday. This is video from Placer County, which runs just north of Sacramento all the way to Lake Tahoe. Many people planning to spend the holiday weekend in the mountains headed out early, hoping to beat the worst of the weather. Caltrans is said to be ready with equipment and people to keep the roads as clear as possible. In other areas, the concern is all that rain and the possible flooding that could follow. First responders are warning drivers to be smart because many roads are susceptible to flooding.
We've got a number of roadways that actually have red lines painted on them just specifically for flooding purposes, with signs that say, don't drive across this road if water is above the red line.
Carhart says CAL FIRE has rescued several drivers stuck on flooded roads in recent years. And in the Seattle area, flooding has already taken place, with the possibility of more on the way. Reporter Paul Rivers spoke with residents who are dealing with flooded out homes and cleanup.
Can it get any worse than this? Pamela Lewis said she got more than a foot of water in her home earlier this week.
All alone and the water's coming up, what do you do? There's nothing you can do. Hope and pray the tide hurry up and goes out, because the water will go with it.
The water leading to more problems.
According to Service Master, it destroyed sheetrock up to 2 foot.
She and her neighbors have a lot to deal with, a lot to tear out of their homes, a lot of calls to make.
FEMA, car insurance, my car was flooded, talking to my insurance adjuster.
On our street this morning, the Red Cross came by giving out cleaning supplies, which Pamela showed us.
It's just kind of a damage assessment, who might need some help, distribution of emergency supplies.
In Gig Harbor, we caught up with that same crew and talked to Red Cross volunteer Jody Robinson as we tagged along while they drove around town looking for signs of damage.
Are there homes that look really close to the water, looking for a water line that maybe they've come and entered the houses?
Supplies ready to go in the back of their truck. They continued their drive, looking to also search other damaged areas of Pierce County before their day was over.
This is part of the process. Sometimes we know exactly where we're going, but today's kind of a day where we're just in the community. Just, hey, who's out here, who needs help, and what can we do today? For sure, that's part of what we do.
Now to Buffalo, where cleanup is still taking place after last week's blizzard of lake-effect snow. Some residents in the area are finally feeling relief, but the question still remains as to why things have taken so long. Chase Howell has more from Buffalo.
People are feeling comfortable leaving their houses with roads mainly clear, but for some people, they're not so lucky. Their driveway still filled with feet of snow, with their cars buried underneath. The big dig out in Buffalo continues for the 4th day in a row. Daphne Holmes lives on Riley Street. She's been using this pickaxe and shovel for the last 3 days to dig herself from her front porch to the end of her driveway. The 5 feet of snow stands between her and seeing her daughter.
I'm 67 years old. I need help. I need help, especially with this here.
Effie Schultz lives a few doors down from Daphne. She's been stuck inside since the winter storm Christmas weekend.
I haven't been doing anything, walking from the back to the front, looking out at all this snow. It's something.
She says the crews are doing a great job at clearing her street.
Makes me feel good because I don't have to get all this snow up. Because you shovel and you wonder, where am I put it at? You know, look at all this around here.
Grady Lewis lives on the opposite side of Riley Street. He says he got lucky and didn't have to do too much to get himself out.
As you can see, most of the snow was on one side of the street over here. On this side, we really didn't have that much snow. So the blizzard was definitely crazy.
What started as this and a lot of frustration for Daphne turned into cheering and an amen after crews stopped by and removed the snow from her driveway.
God is good. I say, I wish I could shout. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. And Bob and Brown, whoever had something to do with this, thank you.
Well, folks are going to get pretty wet shoveling in Buffalo today. There could be a steady rain this afternoon with a high of 53 degrees. There's even more rain in the forecast tomorrow, and it appears daytime highs will stay above freezing for much of next week. Well, freezing temperatures and ice, not just a recipe for danger, but also can make for some pretty surreal beauty. Like this gift shop in Wisconsin, and as Ben Krimholz explains, the frozen fortress led to a record-setting day for visitors.
The wild winds from Christmas Eve helped turn Simply Scandinavian Gift Shop into something that looks like it belongs in the Ice Age.
The wind was 50 miles per hour out here, along with that and freezing lake water. This is what you get.
What Gills Rock also received as a result of this frozen fortress was a potentially record winter day for visitors.
I saw some pictures on Facebook, and we thought it was pretty cool, so we decided to come up and take a look.
Well, it's been a traffic jam. There's been cars going by just steady, and kind of brought us out of Smokefish with all the people coming to Gills Rock.
If anyone knows whether this is unprecedented, it's Charlie Voigt, owner of Charlie's Smokehouse.
Yeah, well, we've been around here for 80 years, and it's just the first time it's been that heavy on there. Sometimes, you get some ice build up, but nothing like this.
The owner of the gift shop is actually out of town. She says since pictures hit the internet, her phone has been ringing off the hook.
Ice house, I would say. It's about a foot thick.
It is.
On the side of that house.
Those who made the tricky trek to get an up-close view say it was well worth it.
So it's quite a sight to behold.
Can't wait to share my photos.
Amazing. Now, New Year's is a time when many will enjoy football, and this year will mark 55 years since the coldest game in NFL history, the 1967 New Year's game. Will this year be anything close to that? Let's find out from meteorologist Christian Palacio.
It's about to be 55 years since the coldest game in NFL history, or the Ice Bowl, took place in our neck of the woods. First, I'm going to show you what caused the New Year's Eve game in 1967 to experience very cold conditions, and then compare it to what will happen for this season's New Year's Day game. Let's backtrack a little bit. This is the upper air pattern in mid-December. The polar jet stream is maintaining the Arctic air well over Canada. Now let's look at the pattern in late December. The polar jet stream dipped into the southern United States, allowing for the Arctic air to filter in. Now, leading up to the game, the low pressure system caused a shift in the upper air pattern and allowed for a blast of cold Arctic air right into the early morning hours of New Year's Eve. Now let's take a look at what will be influencing the conditions for this Sunday's game. This time, an upper level ridge is going to bring in warmer air, which will bring in above average temperatures. Now let's compare the kickoff temperatures. First, our average temperature for this time of year is about 28 degrees. But during the game in 1967, it was only negative 13 degrees with the wind chill of negative 48 degrees. Now we are forecasting the kickoff temperature to be around 35 degrees. So this time around, we are going to be about 48 degrees warmer than kickoff at the Ice Bowl.
And check this out. As parts of the country are warming up, the heat is melting snow that fell during last week's Arctic blast. Our Skycam in Hannibal, Missouri captured this snow as it was melted by the sun. This all took place in a matter of hours, and as you can see, there were areas of the ground that were completely covered in snow that just seems to disappear. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, it's been a big year for space exploration. We'll talk with an expert about the biggest discoveries of 2022. And mountainous regions of the Northwest could see more snow. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, everyone. I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with Look at the Northeast. We have some pretty mild temperatures moving into the Northeast today. Notice most areas running the 40s and 50s. Ski country will be a little bit cooler. Sky should be fairly bright. It's a partly sunny sky. Now, we'll introduce some rainfall first into New York on Saturday. Heading into New Year's Eve, look for that rain to overspread a good chunk of New England. New Year's Day, that rain will be moving out during the morning. It stays pretty mild, though, with 40s and 50s. Enjoy.
I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with a look at the mid-Atlantic region. We could start the day with a few showers. However, much of the rain does clear into the afternoon, and we'll have lots of sunshine. Then overnight, clouds move in, and there will be the chance for rain into Saturday, all ahead of the next weather maker. Unfortunately, that could impact New Year's Eve plans. As we head into the afternoon, temperatures will reach the 40s, 50s, and 60s, making for a nice and warm day. And then those numbers will drop overnight.
Good morning to you. I'm meteorologist Michael Arenberg. Here's a look at your Southeast regional forecast for this Friday. We're looking at a line of showers and storms stretching up and down the Mississippi River Valley in the morning hours. By noontime, that moves east into sections of Mississippi and western parts of Alabama. Shower storms moving into the Florida Panhandle late in the afternoon, evening, with increasing cloudiness over the rest of the Southeast. Temperatures behind the front will be in the 60s, with 70s and even 80s for much of the Sunshine State.
It's been a huge year for space exploration. Emily Gracie spoke to NASA about the big moments of 2022, starting with the most notable, the successful launch and return of Artemis 1 in its mission to put humans back on the moon and beyond.
It was doing all kinds of stuff, which is orbiting the moon, and it was throwing small sats all over the place, what we call CubeSats. And these CubeSats are doing all kinds of things. Once again, we made it look easy on something that is really hard, sending humans to the moon.
Let's talk James Webb, because these pictures coming out of this are amazing.
Well, the first thing you have to know is it's much bigger than Hubble, but it's also in a different wavelength. It's looking at light that even our eyes can't see. And of course, it's got these huge big mirrors. You know, it's about 7 times more powerful. So that when we look at the nebula, where stars are forming, we actually can peer right through the gas and where the dust is. And where the gas then accumulates and creates stars, the dust is creating planets. The main purpose for Webb was really to look back in time. The further you look away from the Earth, the longer it's taken that light to get to us. And so that means it's really a time machine. And what it's looking for, it is starting to find these galaxies that were the first things made from the accumulation of gas that creates stars, then those clump to create galaxies.
Let's move on to DART, because this was something that kind of shocked people. We didn't know that NASA was working on this, and all of a sudden our world has become a Hollywood movie.
We're finding a large number of asteroids that have been thrown out of the asteroid belt that cross our orbit. So we got to the point by 2016 of saying, hey, we need to move forward with a mission. DART was launched on October 10th, 2021. And so within, a year, we were hitting an asteroid and moving it. So this is pretty phenomenal.
What else flew under the radar this year that maybe didn't make big news? Some of the less sexy space stories that are still really important.
Oh, absolutely. To me, there's the beginnings, the middles, and the ends of missions. And the end of a mission occurred this year. It was called InSight. It was measuring Mars quakes. And us planetary scientists get really excited about understanding another planet that's Earth-like because it tells us how these things get put together.
Amazing. We mentioned atmospheric rivers earlier, and it's a term that's making news this year, and it will again next year. But what exactly does it mean? How does it impact weather? Meteorologist Alan Seals explains from Mobile, Alabama.
This time of year, you often hear the phrase atmospheric river. You can sort of see it on this satellite. It's that band of clouds from the Pacific Ocean that goes to the west coast of the United States. You could also change the frequency of the satellite to enhance certain features where you can also see how the moisture moves around the planet. Well, that's what an atmospheric river is. It is a river of moisture that goes from ocean to land, not just on the west coast of the United States. It happens around the world. In fact, you may hear it called the Pineapple Express, and that's when the west coast gets a lot of moisture that originates near the Hawaiian Islands. An atmospheric river, it's more than 1,000 miles long, several hundred miles wide, and it's a big deal for states like California. And that's because California has mountains, and when that moist air comes in from the Pacific Ocean, it's forced to rise to 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 feet or more. And as it rises, more moisture is squeezed out of the atmosphere in the form of snow. So it's a lot of rain in the lower elevations, in the valleys, at the coast, and a lot of snow for the mountains. That's why an atmospheric river is a big deal. I'm meteorologist Alan Seals.
And the latest river could bring more snow to Washington's Snoqualmie Pass, and officials are warning those who plan to be on the roads to be prepared in case they get stuck in their cars. In Seattle, Washington, meteorologist Theron Zahn has more.
Snow is returning to the mountain passes here in Washington. Back east, this winter has turned deadly, with some people trapped in their cars and not making it out alive. Tragic scenes are playing out in Buffalo, New York, and other parts of the eastern United States hit hard by severe winter weather. In Buffalo, some people decided to drive, even after a driving ban was put in place because of an impending blizzard. Rescuers have been finding people frozen to death in their cars after they were trapped in the heavy snow.
Have my 90-year-old in-laws in the car, so we're being as safe as possible.
People traveling across Snoqualmie Pass told us what they have in their cars in case of an emergency.
I have blankets, water, food, chains, a snow shovel.
The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration has this advice if you're trapped in your car in the snow. First, stay focused on yourself and your passengers and figuring out where you are so you can tell 911 operators. Put bright markers on your antenna if you can, and keep the interior dome light on to help be seen in the dark. And watch out for carbon monoxide poisoning. Make sure your exhaust pipe is clear of any snow and run your car long enough to stay warm, but don't run your car for long periods of time with the windows up or in an enclosed space. The drivers we talked with on the pass were ready in case they didn't make it to the other side.
I keep a pair of boots, extra coat, a blanket, and some water and some tire chains.
Planning for the worst is the best plan of action.
It's not just weather that can cause problems, but animals too. Nutria are a large semi-aquatic rodent native to South America. The animals are considered an invasive species in the United States. One major contributing factor to their spread was a 1940 hurricane where at least 150 of the animals were lost to the wild. And as Rich Rodriguez explains from Fresno, California, the problem has only gotten worse.
Nutria were first detected in Central California in 2017. They feed on vegetation and crops. The big rodent can also destroy banks of ditches, lakes, and other bodies of water.
We went down at the end of the summer and worked Mendota Wildlife Area and pulled about 220 off of there over about a 4-week time period.
More trapping will take place early next year in these waterways south of Mendota. Gerstenberg says this site is under control.
Mendota, Fresno Slough and Mendota Wildlife Area is surrounded by mostly ag ground. So, we can get those and they're kind of, not going to go anywhere.
Gerstenberg has led the Nutria eradication project for State Fish and Wildlife since its beginning. In 5 years, his team of 30 has trapped and euthanized 3,380 nutria. The main focus has been on the wetlands north of Los Banos. Its mission has been to keep nutria out of the San Joaquin Delta.
we have detected nutria in the Delta up on Sherman Island. So that's not good news. That's quite a ways further north than our previous detection. There's more wetlands and more difficulty in finding nutria in the Delta than in an isolated wetland.
Nutria can reproduce in a little over 4 months. While most have been removed from Merced County, Gerstenberg says full eradication is still years away.
As we head to break, let's head to the skies over Wilcox, Nebraska.
Well, a very good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buckmichael. Take a look at your weather story across the Midwest. We got a little bit of rain starting to move its way into Illinois and Indiana for the day today, and Ohio and Michigan as well. That'll continue moving out to the east, but the rest of the Midwest, kind of dry for today and tomorrow to finish off 2022. Rain for the Ohio Valley for the day tomorrow, for Saturday, and then by Sunday, dry for most of the Midwest. It's going to be chilly for most of us, a little warmer to the south, but dry and cloudy.
Good Friday morning. I'm meteorologist Joe DiCarlo. Look at your forecast across the region, continuing to see those wet conditions across Louisiana. That's going to continue to push towards New Orleans the next few hours, but by midday, quieting down, highs in the 60s. The rest of the area fairly quiet. A few showers around San Antonio with temperatures right around 70 degrees this afternoon. The rest of the area seeing partly to mostly cloudy skies with temperatures in the 50s and 60s as we head overnight tonight. Just a few showers in southern Louisiana. Otherwise fairly quiet with lows in the 40s and low 50s.
Well, hi there and happy final Friday of 2022, everybody. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. Temps today out west actually pretty mild. We have warmed up in the Pacific Northwest since the big deep freeze had a grip on us through most of December. Temps back on either side of 50 for the Emerald and the Rose Cities today. Heavier rain moving into San Francisco, translating into some eventual good snow up in the Sierra Nevada near Tahoe and back into the Rockies as well. And that's the scene from here.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Last week's storm brought some impressive ice displays along Lake Michigan. The lake spray combined with some freezing temperatures coated lighthouses in South Haven. And with temperatures in the 50s, the melting is certainly underway. And check out these icicles covered in snow. Meteorologist Will Haney told us neither he nor many longtime Michiganders remember seeing anything like it.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on Instagram.
Now let's check and see the weather in some cities across the country today. We'll start things off in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where things are warming up. Cloudy skies this morning will become partly cloudy this afternoon with highs in the mid-40s. And a look at St. Mary's, Pennsylvania, where it's pretty cloudy, but some peaks of sunshine are expected later today, and temperatures will get into the mid-50s. And into Virginia now with a look at Lexington. Sunshine to start things off with a few afternoon clouds and a high of 61 degrees. And we'll end things in Chattanooga, Tennessee, where they have cloudy skies and highs in the mid-60s. Monday on the National Weather Desk, if you think you can smell the weather, you're right. And we're going to show you why. Thank you for joining us. I'm meteorologist Matt Ritter. Have a great weekend and a Happy New Year. We'll see you back here on Monday. Right now on the National Weather Desk, class is in session as we help you better understand the weather through our social meteorology.
Okay, so what is